Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the TED Talks that we watched the two videos with Ken and I'm going to call her Amanda. I don't want to butcher the name. Um, and then I also watched three other videos that I'll talk about after. I want to talk about Ken and to me what he was trying to communicate. Um, to me, his biggest kind of topic was creativity and how creativity nowadays is as important as literacy, um, and how our schools are not teaching kids to be creative; they're teaching the kids to be academics, which is fine, but that's all they're wanting people to be is in a box, in an academic box. And there's going to be some references in my other talks that I watched that kind of talks about the same thing that I didn't know they would be talking about the same thing. It just kind of happened that way. Um, he talks about how we stigmatize mistakes and intelligence, how it's diverse, dynamic, and distinct, and people are not, one thing. They are not math professors. There are many musicians and artists and dancers and stuff like that that need to be creatively fostered as anyone that is book smart is. So I thought it was a that's what thought he was trying to communicate. The tools he used to communicate were a microphone. He also had a lot of hand movements, which I sometimes have. I have my hands put right here in front of me, so I don't have them wildly running throughout the screen and take away from any. I don't want it to be a distraction. So he also uses a lot of humor, which I found very nice to have a humor in the conversation, in a talk. I think his speech was effective because of the use of humor, and I would almost go as far as saying his speech was almost a 15-minute stand-up routine. I found it so entertaining. Um, it went by really quick, and I think he created kind of an audience, like talking with his audience as if they were all his friends. So I thought it was very effective in that respect. Um, Amanda's speech was a little bit harder for me to get through, just because I found myself kind of looking down at how much time was left because there wasn't as much humor in it. I did finally, get into it around, the 5-6 minute mark when she was kind of making her points by talking about her life lessons and things that happened to her. So it was very good. It kind of put into perspective. People couldn't really disagree with what she had to say or what her viewpoints were because they were her viewpoints, um, spoken from her life experiences and things that happened to her. So that was really good. She also talked about bringing up children and talking about how like feminism isn't just a female issue; it's a male and female issue, and it goes so far as to talking about how we raise our children and kind of the hypocrisy um, of how we raise the different sexes. So I found it very interesting, and was very intrigued towards the end. She didn't have as many movements. The jokes weren't as many as the previous speaker, but still, I was engaged because both speakers, were experts, I guess you could say, in their field, and it was just, they had a lot of credibility. TED Talks to me are a creative outlet for speakers to share information about topics and kind of celebrate the differences that people have with each other. And I mean, I can imagine, I can see probably a lot of kids that are watching this that think they're weird or something like that, and then they see someone on a TED Talk, and then they feel a lot better about themselves and they're more creative because of it, and they don't think they're weird. So I really like them, of course. TED Talks, so I like that. Um, purpose they serve to the communities, I think it's almost like a social outreach in terms of just keeping people, or not keeping people, but making people like happy about who they are and celebrating individualism. and just overall, good feeling for people, and making it, a better, a sense of community, as opposed to like we're all human beings, we're all individuals, but we're all unique and we're all alike, so it's really neat in that respect. The 3 talks that I listened to, I want to just talk about them really quick. One was, they were all kind of different. One speaker was Asha De Vos, and her talk was about why we should care about whale poop, which is interesting. Aziz Abu Sarah, his talk was about, for more tolerance, we need more tourism. And then Rosie King, her talk was about how autism freed her to be herself. So they're all kind of very unique, and kind of the same in terms of they were all subject experts. They all had very precise speeches. They knew exactly what they wanted to say, and they were all very credible on what they were saying. They didn't have very many visual aids, which to me, I really like visual aids. I watched a Jamie Oliver TED Talks a while back, and he was talking about like school cafeteria and foods and stuff like that, and he had a lot of like sugars and fats and stuff like that were visual aids that I found really enjoyable. But they were all very dynamic speakers, and they knew what they wanted, and they went right forward. They were very concise. They said what they were going to talk about, and then they had their points. They had specific purposes, and their general purpose. To me, it was kind of interesting because you'd think it would be to inform, but I would almost say when it comes to a TED Talk, when it comes, to inform, to persuade, or to entertain, I almost think sometimes they kind of click all the boxes of that sort of purpose, because they do all of those 3 things. So it's a very very unique and dynamic stage. And that's about all I had. I really enjoyed the TED Talks, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. I just wanted to follow up with some of the talks I listened to. The How Autism Freed Me to Be Myself by Rosie King. She talked about stereotypes. She had a lot of hand movements. She also used humor a little bit, but she also talked about, as Ken did, creativity, and how she's very, in her words, a high-functioning autistic, but she lives almost inside her brain. She has a lot of creativity, and she sometimes cannot get out of her brain because the world is so dull. That's outside of her imagination. So that was a very interesting talk as well. And then the Aziz Abu Sarah, he talked about more tolerance, and he has he founded an Israeli and Palestinian tour guide company that connects with people, and they take Israelis and Palestinians on tours, and there's an Israeli and a Palestinian tour guide, and it just is trying to show people the different feelings on both sides about a specific area or region, or just give the two sides of everything to people that are visiting. And he was a very good speaker. He was very dynamic. It went very fast. It was very he was a subject expert. You could see he was very passionate about it. And then the Asha De Vos, with her talking about whale poop, it was very interesting to me because I didn't really realize how the commercial whaling, how it's so detrimental to the oceans, and like the big carbon deposits and stuff like that that are in the ocean, and how kind of the whale poop kind of took care of a lot of that stuff. She didn't have a lot of visual aids either. It was very all 3 speakers were very precise, went to the point, talked about it. It was very very quick speeches, 5 to 10 minutes, and it was they're all really good talks. No one had a script or anything like that, so it flowed very nicely. And overall, they were all good speeches that you should check out. All right, thanks.